everybody. How are you? Hope you're having a good day. So, it's a chilly day here in New Mexico, and I just found out from my roommate that tonight it's going to snow, and tomorrow it's going to snow all day. So, I have that to look forward to. My first snowfall here in New Mexico. Snow is pretty to look at, but doggone it, it's cold. And I'm not one that I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't like the cold. I'm little. Okay. I just don't like the cold. But like I said, it's pretty to look at as long as you stay inside. You don't stay outside too long. So I've got some catching up to do. I was going to do some reactions yesterday, but I had a really nasty, pounding earache headache. I think it's due to the climate, the change from very hot to very cold. And I just had a really nasty headache and I could not react at all. So today is catch up day. So, what's going on with Chantal? Well, some new developments. Chantal, it would seem, has caught Salah once again. She saw something on his phone and she asked him about it. And he tried to say, oh, it's a coworker, it's a coworker. He deleted stuff off his phone and it made her angry, made her very angry. She needed to vent. So she did a nearly 3-hour live stream where she was allegedly asking for a friend, trying to paint it as a third person perspective, asking advice from her audience about what should her friend do with this situation. And a lot of her beezers were saying, well, if it were me, I would leave that guy because he's being dishonest. Everybody knew that Chantal was talking about herself. But I feel the reason why she wasn't coming online and blasting Salah is because she's in Kuwait and she's got to be careful of what she says because Salah is her lifeline in Kuwait. He's the only one that she knows and she doesn't know anybody else in Kuwait. She's got to be very careful what she says. So she wanted to come online and vent about whatever it is that happened between the two of them. And she was, in my opinion, issuing a veiled warning and a threat to Salah that if he got her too angry, that she could come online and air out all the dirty laundry and make money with it, and there would be nothing that he could do. So she was flexing a little bit of power and control right there and just letting him know, hey, you know what? I've got the power of a YouTube channel and I could turn all of this mess into profit. So don't play with me. So she did her live stream and she did a follow-up video doing like an update on the quote unquote friend. Because of the length of the live stream itself, I'm going to react to that next. I'm kind of doing things a bit backwards today. I'm reacting to the video first because it's shorter, and then we'll save the live stream for, the next one I post. So let's go a little bit backwards and do the update on the friend. And she also gives like a brief update on Julia. So why don't we just get into it? Let's just do this. Let's go a bit backwards. We're going backwards with Chantal. Let's see. Are there any comments on our video? Let me see. Scott's Lassie says the whole story is just sus. This guy is spinning a whole fairy tale, and your friend just wants to believe it rather than admit her man is a lying, cheating bellend. The Beezers are not fooled. They know that she's talking about herself. She just doesn't want to admit that it's her story rather than someone else's. Because Chantal, she's about that life of saving face. She doesn't like egg being tossed into her eye. So she's not going to admit when she's lost, when she has lost. So she's going to put it as it happened to somebody else, it didn't happen to me. Yana Medusa says friend story is oddly specific and somewhat familiar. Yeah, isn't it? It does sound familiar, doesn't it? Moon's Life says, if we don't know them and they don't have a social media, why would they care what people think on the internet? Good point. Good point. And to add to your point, Moons, if Chantal is friends with somebody and she's good friends with this person, why take their story and put it online to begin with? It's one thing for two friends to talk privately off of YouTube, off of social media. And let's just say you got two girlfriends and one is confiding in the other and saying, this horrible situation just happened to me. Really horrible. Why would it be a good idea for one girlfriend to say to the other girlfriend, this sounds like a really good story. Would you mind if I went on YouTube and turned it into content and monetized it? I mean, what friend would think that way? What friend would act that way? Just turn a very horrible situation into content and put it on blast in front of everybody. It doesn't matter if you don't say the friend's name or not. Why would you do that? Why not just keep it to yourself? Unless there is no friend. Unless you are a woman scorned and you're looking to get back at the man in your life that has scorned you. You're looking to get back at him and get a bit of revenge, at the same time putting your toes on the line and not crossing it to make sure that he doesn't completely abandon you. Let's see. So there's a lot of beaters believing this story that it's about another person when it's about Chantal. Let's see. So there's a lot of people in the comments that maybe they've been through something similar with being cheated on. Ashley Klassen says, OMG, are there going to be videos worth watching now? Yay. So even the Beezers are like, finally, there's something interesting here. Something beyond grocery hauls and torrid hauls and Timu hauls and mukbangs. Yes. Yes, we're all about that life. We're all about that life. Let's see what else we got here. So like the Beezers aren't fooled, Chantal. They will never be fooled. You're not fooling your Beezers. You're not fooling Girl World. You're not fooling the reactors. You're only fooling yourself. You think you've got everybody fooled when no one is fooled but you. You're the biggest fool in the room. But let's get into the video and see what she has to say about this supposed friend.
Today's video is going to be an updated video. I'm going to update you on my cat, Julia. And I'm also going to update you on my friend, whom I talked about her situation in a live stream. For those of you who aren't aware, she gave me full permission to ask the Beezers, ask my audience their opinion on a situation involving her and her boyfriend.
Let's just do a devil's argument. Let's just say this friend gave you permission. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. If you took somebody else's unfortunate situation and you turned it into content, I can't even begin to tell you how tacky I think that is. You must be desperate for content, Chantal. You're the content creator. This is your channel. These are supposed to be your life vlogs. And you're not even vlogging about your life. You're vlogging about somebody else's life and the things that happen to them. Why? Because there's nothing going on with you. Despite the fact that you're in Kuwait with Salah, allegedly you've got this brand new life that's completely different than the one you had in Canada. You're not doing anything. You're not going anywhere. There's nothing to talk about. So since there's nothing to talk about, let's talk about other people and make them into content. If you were a real friend to this person, you would say to yourself, you know, their situation is painful enough. There's no reason to talk about it. I'm not going to put them on blast. I'm not going to air out the dirty laundry for them. If they want to do it, they should do it. They should be the ones to talk about this, not me. But you'll turn anything into content, even unfortunate things that happen to people, because you're too lazy to go out and get your own content and make things happen in your life that you can talk about on your channel.
And suspected infidelity. And yeah, you can check out that live if you want. Otherwise, I'll just update you guys on that. And then I'm going to be done with it because, you know, she doesn't want me to talk about it anymore. Her boyfriend.
You shouldn't have talked about it at all, but go ahead.
Doesn't want me to talk about it anymore. I don't want to talk about it anymore either. I just want to move on, respect her privacy.
Okay, I'm reading between the lines here. Let's stand all the way back in the situation. Let's look at it for what it is. Something happened between Chantal and Salah. Maybe she did see stuff on his phone. And she lost her mind. And so she did a 3-hour live stream to help her vent and get it out of her system. And she did this video to also help get it out of her system. And from the sounds of it, it sounds like Salah doesn't want her to talk about it anymore. So since she got it out of her system, she's not going to talk about it anymore. Like they had a bit of a blow up about whatever it was that happened, and they're going to move on. That's what it sounds like to me.
So I'll start with Julia. So Julia had her second set of vaccines today, and we took her to get that done. She actually finished her heat pretty early this morning. Early. I don't know why I'm saying it like that. She finished early this morning. And so right on schedule, she was due today, November 6th, for her second rounds of vaccines.
Can I just say thank you for getting her vaccine, Chantal? As a pet owner, I shouldn't be thanking you because that's just something you should do anyway. But thank you for taking her to the vet to get those vaccines. And I hope you follow up with getting her fixed. I really do. Although I'm not going to hold my breath over that, I hope that there is some follow-up with that.
And then we had to wait. We have to wait about a minimum of 8 days. So we just have to call like 2 days ahead to schedule, ahead of time to schedule. So we will do that in a few days. And then after the 8 days is up, she'll be fine to be spayed finally. And she'll have to spend 2 days at the animal hospital where she will be having the procedure done. So I trust she's in good hands. You people don't have to worry anymore about her, whatever, you know, whatever the fate.
You know what, Chantal, I'm just going to go on record as saying I think the only reason why you would get Julia fixed is not because you personally care about Julia and making sure that she's comfortable. It has to do with public peer pressure. It has to do with you saving face. You know, the longer that Julia stays unfixed and keeps going into heat, the more chance of you losing beezers, because the beezers who give you the super chats and buy the memberships and they watch your videos and they watch your lives, the longer you keep her unfixed and they know she's unfixed, the more chance of you losing the beezers and in essence losing money. And can you afford to lose more beezers and more money? You're caving in to public peer pressure. And you know what? If that's what it takes for her to get the proper care that she needs, I'm glad that it's there. I'm glad the pressure is on you and that you're responding to it, because you won't respond to anything else. You won't do things out of decency because it's the right thing to do. You only respond if it means you might lose money. So I'm good the pressure's on you. I'm good with that.
Fake outrages, whatever. She's fine. She's going to be fine. Um, so, and that's the update on that. It's the last I'm going to say about it. And moving on to my friend. um, so it's very important to say that my friend and I are very similar in a lot of ways. We have a lot of similar situations, and that's
She's saying that because she's the story that she gave us about the friend, it is her. And a lot of people have pointed that out. Like, this sounds like you that you're talking about, Chantal, not about somebody else. So now she's trying to reframe it as, oh, my friend and I were very similar. That's why it sounds similar. Okay, go with that. Do what you want, go with that.
how we ended up bonding over the last year. And I know people think I don't have friends.
You don't. You know what, though? You really don't. You really don't. You don't know how to be friends with anybody, Chantal. You don't know how to be a good friend. So if you don't know how to be a good friend, how can you have good friends? You meet people, you size them up, you figure them out, you figure out ways to get what you want out of them, to manipulate them, to control them, to gaslight them. And that's why the people that were your friends are no longer around you.
I do have friends. I don't ever talk about them online.
You could, though. You talk about everybody else. You'll talk about Natter to this day, even though you have no reason to talk about him. So you'll talk endlessly about Natter, but she won't even mention a friend, not even with a first name. You can even make up a name. Oh, I talked to so and so today. How would we know who that person is unless you gave us a last name? Why is it that you'll talk about somebody in your past that allegedly hurt you, but you won't talk about somebody that you're friends with? Make that make sense.
The most recent one I hung out with, she wanted me to post a picture of us together because, you know, she hates people saying, she hates seeing people say, you know, oh, she's not meeting anyone. She doesn't have any friends, that kind of thing. So she's like, you know what? I want you to post this. So I did. But of course, with her face blurred out because people are nuts. Like, do you blame me? Do you think I'm going to come on here and be like, oh, yeah, I talked to this friend, this friend? They would be doxxed instantly. Like, what they did with me.
They would not be doxxed if you used a fake name, or B, just a first name. Like if you said, my friend's name is Mary, but there's a million Marys in the world. How do we know which one you're talking to? Unless you came online and said, my friend's name is Mary so and so, and she lives at this address in Cornwall. How would anybody know who she is unless we had all the information?
My new friend, they literally picked apart everything she was wearing and tried to match where she got it from. Like, all right, I'm sorry, but and they
Oh, are you talking about the lady that you met up with at the coffee shop? You met up with her one time. One time. And her picture was found on the, I believe it was the Unicity site. She was a representative for Unicity. So she wasn't really your friend. And let's just say that wasn't the case. Let's just say it was just somebody not connected to Unicity, or selling you something, or representing a company. If you meet up with somebody one time, you've never met them before, just because they meet you one time at a coffee shop doesn't automatically mean from that moment forward they are your friend. I mean, you don't know them, they don't know you. They're just meeting up with you to talk to you for whatever reason. So I don't think that person is your friend, Chantal.
Did this on the farms. I'm like, I'm sorry, but why are you picking on someone for shopping at like Temu, Sheen, wherever you suspect they shop?
Okay, dead giveaway that she is talking about the lady that met up with her in the coffee shop, because people were pointing out, like, she shops at Temu. She's talking about the coffee shop lady.
From when, let's face it, you're not shopping at Versace. Successful people don't sit on kiwi farms all day and pick apart other people. Okay, it doesn't happen. Anyway, moving on from that. I digress. So basically,
Comment about that, Chantal. There are people in the world that have lots and lots of money, but if you looked at them, you would never know they have lots and lots of money. It could be personal taste in clothing. They might like to dress much more simply. They're not flashy about their clothes, their cars. They live in a very simple way. They're very frugal. You can be wealthy or have a lot of money and not be swimming in Gucci or Versace. Okay? Just because a person doesn't wear Versace and Gucci and they dress in, say, Levi's and a t-shirt, doesn't mean automatically they're poor. They could just be smarter with their money.
this person I was talking to. So anyway, she ended up, the dust settled. They made up, and basically, they talked, and she got more information out of him, of course. So here's the thing: your mentality whenever you've had an incident of infidelity in your relationship. Her boyfriend was, he never cheated in person, but he was um, talking to someone online or something like that. Anyway, so when that happens to you in a relationship, any situation that you encounter involving any female, the immediate response is to be defensive and to be suspicious and to
Is she trying to educate us? Sorry about the vacuum noise. My roommate is vacuuming. Are you trying to educate us, Chantal? You being the most jealous, insecure, stage 5 clinger ever on YouTube. You're trying to educate us on responses to different situations. When you fly off the handle, when you got trust issues, mainly because you get with scumbags that you pay for. And if you pay for it, it ain't real and you know it ain't real. Hence where a lot of your insecurity comes from, because you want it to be real and it'll never be real. You're trying to act like Dear Abby over here and give us a relationship advice.
think the worst. So she told me that, her boyfriend found out about her coming online and confiding in strangers on the internet, which is, I told her, we appreciate the Beezers. We appreciate the audience for giving their side. Sometimes it's nice to just see if other people, have gone through similar things. Lots of opinions sometimes.
You know what? I watched part of the live stream that you did. I was actually reacting to it and I messed it up, so I got to redo it again. Hence the reason why I'm reacting to this first. Here's what I took away from what I did see and what I did hear. I think something happened between you and Salah and you wanted to vent, but you kept your toes behind the line and you didn't go too far, because you knew if you went too far that he could pull the rug out from under you, cancel the lease on the house, and force you back to Canada. You're also aware of where you are in the world right now, and you can't say whatever you want, and you can't go off completely half-cocked. So you wanted to talk about your situation, but do it in a third person perspective to keep from getting in trouble with Salah and also with Kuwait. And also in a very sneaky, manipulative way. You're trying to capitalize and profit off of the pain that other people have suffered. You know there are people in your audience that more than likely, more than a few of them, have dealt with the situation of being hurt or betrayed or cheated on. You're trying to capitalize on that. People in your audience were saying, oh, I've been through that. I have so been through that. And I got betrayed and I got lied to. And this is what happened to me. Chantal, you did the exact same thing with the whole DV arc during the crackhead Olympics era. You were claiming that you had been going through DV. There are people in your audience that had gone through DV and they felt more bonded to you. They felt like they had something in common with you. So in essence, you were trauma bonding with the people using that. And here you are doing it yet again. Yet again. You're looking into other people and finding the painful spots that they have and trying to profit off those painful spots, their heartaches, their heartbreaks, and say to them, well, I've been through that too, or I've got a friend who went through that, and having your audience open up about that. Maybe also hoping by them emotionally opening up to you or emotionally opening up, period, that'll lead to extra views and extra super chats and extra memberships. That's emotionally manipulative, biatch. That is so emotionally manipulative. Yeah, I see you. I see all the way through you. You like to manipulate people through their emotions, whether it's anger, sadness, heartbreak, upset, rage, you don't care. Each emotion has a $sign attached. And you're looking to make a withdrawal rather than a deposit. This is how low you've sank. That rather than be a YouTuber and you're making entertaining content that lifts people up, that inspires people, that makes people laugh, this is what you're doing. You're using negative emotion to provoke a response of some sort, preferably a profitable one. You're in Kuwait. You've got the GoPro. You got your camera. You got Salah. Don't know if you still have the Timu mobile. You should be going all over Kuwait and showing us entertaining things. You're not. All we hear out of you anymore is, I'm sick. I'm tired. I don't feel good. I just woke up. I ate too much last night. It's the same crap over and over and over again. And everybody's over it. And for all the misery that you say that you feel, you won't do anything about it. You won't do anything about any of the misery you're experiencing. You won't go to therapy or go to a psychiatrist or a psychologist and get help. You won't go to inpatient and get help. You won't go to a doctor and get a checkup to see how your health is doing. You won't work out on the treadmill. You won't eat healthy. I think you like pain. I think you're in love with pain. That is very comfortable for you. Even as uncomfortable as it is, you're used to it, so it's your comfort. You hold on to it like a blanket, because if it were uncomfortable, you'd do something about it. And yet you won't make a move. So if you're over in Kuwait and you're uncomfortable, you're suffering, you're in pain, you're miserable, understand, madam, that it's a jail cell of your own making. You flew thousands of miles to sit in a human hamster cage without the hamster wheel. You put yourself in that hamster cage. You did. You did. And you could let yourself out. You could leave. You're not leaving. You won't leave Salah behind, even though it makes perfect sense. You know he's got a wandering eye. You know he's not attracted to you. And let's be real and honest here. Let's keep it 100. He's not in love with you. You're not in love with him. You're still talking to Natter. Natter's still talking to you. Salah's talking to everybody. You both have your people on the side. This marriage is for YouTube only, but it's not a real marriage. With you two, you and Salah, it's not about love. It's about control. You want to control him. You want to possess him. You feel because you spent X amount of money on him that you now own him. You can't own a person, Chantal. He's not your slave. He's not. But your vanity and your pride get in the way. The copious amounts of food that you shove down your throat. And yet your pride is just too big of a pill to swallow. You just get it. You can't get it down your throat. It just won't fit. You don't want to swallow it when you should. You really should. You really should look at Salah and say, you know what? We've been doing this for almost 3 years. I got to look out for my channel. I'm losing money left and right. My views are in the toilet. I'm paying for so much here, and it's not even worth it. I can't even justify it anymore. So how about we just part ways? I go back to Canada. You stay here in Kuwait. I know that girl world, they're going to throw eggs at me. I'm going to get eggs on my face. But if I went back to Canada, I could take those eggs and make scrambled eggs. I could turn the lemons into lemonade. I can't do that here. So let's just agree to disagree and say goodbye. That would be a smart decision. But you're not about smart decisions. You're about being stupid for the sake of your pride. So as long as you're doing that, you're going to have situations just like this, where every now and again, Salah's going to slip up and you're going to see something on his phone and you're going to get upset and you're going to blow up. And meanwhile, your views are going to go down, down, down. Your money's going to go down, down, down until you arrive at nothing. So enjoy the path that you're on, because you're not willing to pick a different path.
Helps, but it doesn't ever, it's never a good idea to bring your personal life to the internet, especially for relationships. And so I told her that's, I wouldn't do that anymore, and so after the dust settled, basically she said,
I'll tell you what, if I ever found out one of my friends did this to me, I will give you a piece of my mind first, then I will block your number second. We wouldn't be talking ever again. Because airing out somebody else's dirty laundry online for the sake of content and views, that's not something a real friend does.
The boyfriend was mad that he didn't get to voice his side, not opinion, but his side. So I'm going to do that a bit here for him.
Why is he mad? I'm going to go on record as saying I think this whole situation is bogus. Her talking about people in the third person like there's a friend and then the boyfriend. We don't know these people. We don't care about these people if they exist, which I don't think they do exist. But if names aren't being mentioned, why do either one of them care? We're not even getting a first name. So why is this boyfriend mad? This makes no sense.
And for her, at her request also, basically, he was very taken aback by her outrage. Like they were talking 1 minute about plans, they were joking, laughing, and the next minute she was like angry, like, almost like throwing things and just screaming and not giving him a chance, he became immediately defensive because she's a very, very suspicious and paranoid person. And he feels suffocated by that sometimes.
Boy, that sounds like she's talking all about herself and Salah, because she just described herself. She's suspicious and paranoid, and he gets defensive. Doesn't that sound a lot like Salah and Chantal? Isn't she paranoid all of the time, insecure and jealous all of the time, clingy all of the time? Let me ask you something, Chantal. Serious question, sincere question. Why are you continuing to hang on to Salah? I mean, what's it really about? Is it about the love? Because I don't think it is. I don't think you love him. I don't think he loves you. I think you know he doesn't love you. I think it boils down to, it's not about love. You need a place to stay. You know that if you try to go back to Canada and try over again to live there, it would not work. Like, you don't have the money saved up for your own place. So you're just, squatting in the nest that you've made yourself in Kuwait. You're hanging on to Salah, not for love. There's no love there, because love is healthy. Love is trusting. Love is nurturing. Love is positive. What's going on with the two of you is not positive. It is negative. It is toxic. Ma'am, you are forcing yourself into Salah's life. You're a forcer. You force your way into people's lives. You force them to be around you. You configure things to where they can't escape you. And if you can imagine how you would feel if somebody forced you to do anything, like how that would make you feel, it wouldn't feel good, would it? If somebody tried to force you to do something, there would not be good feelings with that forcing. So just look at it from the other angle, from the other side. Like, you're trying to force your way into Salah's life. And there's a lot of resentment there. There's a lot of anger, a lot of bitterness beneath the surface. But forcing someone to be with you doesn't mean they are with you. There's always going to be a silence, a deafening silence, a distance, a gap that cannot be bridged. Trapping somebody with you doesn't mean they're going to fall in love with you. They will never love you that way. Love doesn't come from them, you trapping them with you. It ain't going to happen. It's not natural. Yet you won't let him go. You won't let him go. You can't possess him. You can't own him. You can't control him. You try, but control is not love, and it never will be. And at 40 years old, you still haven't learned that lesson. Love is a given thing, freely given, not a forced thing. When you force something, it means it's not meant for you. It is not meant for you.
Because she doesn't, the trust it's being rebuilt, let's just say. And, I get that.
If you have to control someone and possess someone and have your foot on their neck and be under their thumb to feel secure and to have the love, you really don't have it. If that is the level that you have to go to have love, you don't have love. You don't have it. You just don't have it.
Too, I get that feeling where you're like always, wondering and always tracking and stuff like that.
Oh, she told on herself. She just told on herself. talking about if you have to keep control of somebody and tracking them. Oh, so you're tracking him, Chantal. So that was a self-admission. You're tracking Chantal. You're tracking Salah. You're actually tracking him. Wow. I've been married twice. I never tracked my husbands. You want to know why? Because I loved them. And I guess I'm a more mature female than you. I didn't wear myself out tracking their every move, blowing up their phone, having them take pictures of wherever they are every 2 minutes, leaving messages. Why haven't you called me back? Because I loved them. I trusted them. And I knew that if they did something behind my back they weren't supposed to do, karma was going to get them. I don't have to be over their shoulder watching their every move because karma is doing all the work for me. They do something they're not supposed to do. If they're not the person meant for me, then life is going to pull me apart from that person. And that's going to be that. If they're not meant for me, then life is going to step in and say they are not meant for you. You need to be away from them. And things are going to be put into play to separate me from that person. And I'm going to go my way and they're going to go their way. And I'm not going to run down my battery with all that insecure, jealous nonsense. Not going to tire myself out like that.
So his response was immediately defensive. Like, I'm not showing you anything. You don't like, you don't deserve to see it. The way you're screaming at me, and I don't want to feel like I'm in jail and blah, blah, blah. So
but that's the way you make Salah feel, like he's in jail. And again, no sympathy for him. He signed on for this. He's had so many chances to get away from her. His last chance was when she was in Thailand. For 6 weeks, she was away. How long does it take to pack up a household, take the pets, and disappear into the night and block her phone number? He's got male friends. They all could have come into that house, packed everything up, and been gone within 24 hours. The window of opportunity was open, and he did not jump through it. And that wasn't the only time, but that was the latest time. Every time she's gone back to Canada, he could have done something. He didn't do nothing. Because he's greedy. He wanted her money. Well, you got to take what comes with the money, and what comes with the money is Chantal.
That was the initial. Another thing is also he was worried to show her the conversation.
Well, if there was nothing to be afraid of, why be afraid of the conversation?
Because he didn't think that she would understand the situation because she has overreacted before. And that, I said that's, you have to understand that that's a normal response, and you have to have patience with situations like this, especially if there was a breach of trust in the past. So,
yeah, but in your situation, Chantal, when it comes to Salah, there's been four, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 breaches of trust. 4, girl. This ain't even his first offense. First offense, you saw the picture long ago of a woman on his phone bent over. Second offense, the red room picture. Third offense, Kybella. Fourth offense, this situation right here. He's on number 4. What are you going to do about it? Nothing. Because you want to hang on to him. You want to hang on to the house that you have in Kuwait, or rather the apartment. Because even though you try to do the power play on Salah, like you have all the power, I don't know if he realizes this, but he's got control over you too. He could easily snap on you, pull the rug out from under you, go to you and say, hey, I'm canceling the lease. Bye. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? If the lease gets canceled, he disappears into the night, what are you going to do? What? His friends, his family will hide him. He could disappear into the night. You'd never find him. Never. And then you'd be forced to go back to Canada and start over. So you may have the money, but remember, you're in Kuwait. He's more home there than you are. You're supposed to be a tourist. He actually lives there. So who's got power over who? You're hiding from Canada in Kuwait. You're hiding from the tax man in Kuwait. You think the tax man can't find you. Eventually, you're going to have to go back to Canada and deal with that anyway. And the longer you wait, the worse it's going to get. So what is the point in being there? Just go home and fix your nonsense.
I think he finally understands that, and Salah too understands that. Just in case you were wondering, his stance on it. So it turned
I'm going to
out
level with you, Chantal. I think another reason why you won't let go of Salah is because you know, and I know, he's the last one. You don't have the health nor the money anymore to throw around the same game to attract and keep and trap men in your life. He's the last one. He is. Given your state of health and your lack of finances, you would not be able to come up with a money amount sufficient enough to where a man would look at you as messy as you are, as sick and clingy and jealous as you are, and they would say, okay, it's worth it to deal with you. You're a lot, but you're giving me thousands of dollars a month, so I'll deal with you. I'll suffer you. Salah was the last sucker that you could draw into your tangled web. But you're a 550-pound, clingy, jealous, problematic person. You're controlling, you're possessive, you act crazy, you're hot-headed, you probably throw things around the apartment when you get mad, you throw temper tantrums over food. Nobody's going to deal with that. No one. He's the last one. And you don't want to be alone. You know there's no one that you can pick that would replace Salah. And Natter's about ready to go to jail. So Pete is not in a position where he could take you in and take care of you. He's still dealing with the debt that you left for him back at the villa. You remember the $5,000 plus in damages that you caused to the villa? He's still paying that off. And Natter might be going to jail soon. And Salah can't stand you, but you're clinging to him for dear life because there's nobody waiting in the wings to take his place. So since you don't want to be alone, you're hanging on to him, even though you know he can't stand you. He can't stand you. You won't let him go because you need to have somebody with you. So you're hanging on to a man who essentially hates you.
that finally she just said, like, if you want to really regain my trust, give me those passwords, give me, and so he did. He gave her the phone password, he gave her Instagram password, TikTok, all that. But
you know what? She's talking about her and Salah. What is this all going to do? All he's going to do is go get another phone number, and get other secret accounts and keep talking to people. That's all that's going to happen.
that's not a fail-proof thing.
And I think that Chantal is mad. She's big mad because everybody's been saying for months, Chantal, he has another phone. Chantal, he has secret accounts. And I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall when she found that second phone, because it sounds like she found the second phone and she saw the pictures. And she'll never admit it. But she knows Girl World was right. We were right, Chantal. You know we were right. You know we were right. We've been right all along. You're a love-blind fool. And the eyes will never see what the heart does not want to see. If your heart doesn't want to see it, Your eyes won't see it. You will purposely blind yourself to the truth because you want to keep on believing the fantasy. You want to live in the fantasy, and you don't want reality coming in and like a wrecking ball and popping that bubble. So you want to go on with the fantasy, as torn up and ruined and soiled as it is. You want to continue to live in the fantasy. Well, that is your choice, to live in it or not. But on the outside, it makes no sense. But I guess for you, that's all you've got. And the last tarot reading that I did on you, that was the energy I was picking up. Like this whole thing of you staying in the apartment, staying with Salah. It was like that fantasy. You're holding it in your hand in a tight fist. And the feeling was, it's all I've got. It's all I've got. I've got nothing else. So that little bit of something that I've got, I'm going to hold it in my hand. I'm going to grip it really hard and not let go of it. Because if I let go of it, I have nothing. So I'd rather have a little bit of something than nothing at all. Even if the little bit of something I have doesn't make sense and is hurting me, I'm going to hold it. I'm going to grip it, and it's not going anywhere. Your world is so small. It's so lacking in substance and growth because you made it that way. You designed it. And you can't blame reactors for your unhappiness. You can't blame FFG. You can't blame Yaba. You can't blame me. You can't blame anybody. We did not affect your life that way. We did not put you on that path. We did not force you to get on that plane and spend $9,000 to a romance scammer and stay there for about 3 years. You did that to yourself. That is the truth. You are a person and you are in charge of your life and everything going on in your life. So if you're on a bad path, it's because you keep making bad choices and you got to suffer the consequences of those. And if you want to be on a good path, you got to make different choices. You got to get on a different path that is completely opposite to the one that you're on. But you refuse. And why? Because of your pride. Because it's so important to you to maintain appearances, to put on a happy mask of my life is great and my husband loves me and my life is so wonderful. And where's your husband? At the end of the day, nobody cares. Nobody cares where you live or how much rent you pay. They don't care if you have a husband. Nobody cares. Nobody. And it's so sad that you putting on appearances in front of strangers on the internet above the quality of your own life. That public image is more important to you than your own life and your own health. Really pathetic. It shows just how much online that you live. You're just too consumed with the internet.
That's the horrible thing about lack of trust. There's always, if somebody really wants to cheat or really wants to be, not faithful, there's always a way. But at least it's a step. And the most important thing in my mind was that he proved that who this woman was in the end. And well, he did delete the conversation. And the conversation, he was able to find a picture of her and her husband. Apparently this woman is married, and apparently he was also defending that she wasn't showing her cleavage. This woman was wearing like a more tight.
Okay. Let's just look at the other side of this. If there's nothing nefarious going on, why did he get defensive in the first place? Why not just say, hey, calm down. This person's married. Here's a picture of this person and her husband. Now calm down. Why get defensive? Why tell her to F off? And by the way, Chantal, if Salah had been caught, he could easily have that woman take a picture with another man and say that's her husband. And you wouldn't be the wiser. I mean, just as you find ways to work around and tell your lies, so can other people. Just as you cover up your lies, so can other people. Duh. When liars get caught, they will always find a cover up to the lies. But you should know that better than anybody, liar.
Snug fitting t-shirt. It wasn't like super modest, but it wasn't super revealing. I think my friend was just initially like, oh my gosh, she's a prostitute or something. Like, I don't know what her thought was, you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. Like, well, she said something meaner, but that was the initial, like she was some kind of sex worker or something. And nothing wrong with that if that's what you are. I'm just saying that's what,
So because a woman is attractive and wearing some form-fitting clothing, automatically she's a charmute? She's a sex worker? Based on a picture, you're going to make that assumption, Chantal? Of course you will. Because you're insecure and you're jealous. And you're going to say the meanest, nastiest things about other women. That's why you don't have women friends. You're insecure. That's why this whole story about this woman friend who confided in you, I think it's a bunch of BS. You don't have women friends. How could you? Every woman friend you've ever had, you've stabbed in the back. You're insecure and you're jealous around them. If they're even remotely attractive, you can't be around them. So you see a picture on a phone, and she's got to be a prostitute. She's got to be a sex worker. Just because she's not fully covered in clothing? Oh my God.
Initial thought was, I don't know.
And not you calling somebody a sex worker when, ma'am, and this is no shade to anybody who's done something on OnlyFans, because, hey, do what you got to do what you want to do, but not you throwing judgment at people when you've had 2 OnlyFans accounts, ma'am. Not you throwing judgment and pointing fingers when there's 3 pointing back at you. Not you doing that.
So, apparently this woman and her husband were former customers of her boyfriend. This boyfriend has had the same WhatsApp number for over 8 years. It's a business number, and he's worked in sales for a long time. And he has a lot of customers that would reach out to him and buy stuff from him. So, yeah, I guess.
Okay, so here be my question. If these were former customers, why are they still talking to them? Like, if there's no business going on, why continue to reach out? What's the point in that? And if the business is done, why still have those people on your contacts? Why continue to talk to them?
Males and females. He even showed her like another female customer that she didn't really know about, but it was like an older woman. And so this woman anyways was married, and he proved that. He proved like her name on the WhatsApp. He matched it up to some sales records he had. Thank goodness that saved the day. And it's just all fell into place once, like I said, the dust settled and she wasn't as paranoid, and she started to like actually listen, because like she wasn't listening. She was just like attacking. And he became very defensive about that. But I said, it's still sus a little bit. Like, what made it sus was the deleting everything at first, And
you mean the way that you do? You're the queen of dirty delete, yet it bothers you when somebody else does it? You have secret accounts where you're talking to people on Telegram, you're talking to Natter behind his back, but yet when somebody does the dirty deleting thing on you, you don't like it. You don't like it at all. You don't like the tactics that you use in your life for different things being used on you.
So I don't know. But his defense to that was that she wouldn't have understood. She would have, just thought the worst anyways. So, um, I guess, if you see a woman messaging your man on WhatsApp and saying, "Hi, how are you?" or whatever, you're going to think the worst.
Not necessarily. If you're with your man or woman and the love is secure and they love you and you know that they love you and you're in a committed relationship, your partner is allowed to have friends, whether it's male or female. And if you're secure with your mate, you won't be blowing up their phone and you won't be going through their phone and suspicious of everybody they talk to. I mean, my husband's, they had female friends. That didn't bother me because I understood they were female friends. And again, I knew that if they were doing something they weren't supposed to do behind my back, that eventually the truth would come out. And if I wasn't meant to be with that person, then life would fix it to where they were out of my life. So I didn't sweat over it. I really didn't, because the truth will always, always come out. And you don't have to wear yourself down to nothing trying to find it. It'll just find you. So your insecurity and your jealousy, it has less to do with the other women, Chantal, and has more to do with the way you view yourself, the way you carry yourself. You know that you are messy and immoral and gross and nasty and vulgar, and you have no social graces. You know that you don't bathe properly. You don't take care of your health. You know how awful you are. And yet, you won't fix any of those things. You won't fix yourself. You want to just lay around and be as you are. You won't see other women and say, well, maybe I should be more concerned for my hygiene, more concerned for my health. Maybe I need to work on myself. And then I could feel good about myself and I'll feel less jealous and less insecure and be less clingy. And by being less of those things, those will be positive to the relationship. Because by being secure in myself and radiating that energy to people, they'll want to be around me more. By taking care of myself, they'll want to be around me more. Recently, you did a live stream at the pool where you were begging and pressuring Salah to touch you. You were on live stream and you pressured him to pat your head and to pinch your cheek. And as a woman, can I just say, I found that to be gross. Forcing another person to touch you, using peer pressure to get another person to make contact with you physically is gross. It's so gross. If that's what you have to do to get Salah to touch you, that means he doesn't want to touch you. Forcing someone to touch you that way, using an audience to make it happen, is disgusting. It's so disgusting. You can't force another person to touch you. Do you understand me? That's gross. That's gross. Absolutely gross. But maybe if you took care of yourself, you got yourself together, you got yourself physically together, mentally, emotionally together, sort of taking care of your health, taking care of your hygiene, being more put together, he might spend more time with you. He might hang out with you without you begging him to. I don't know about the intimate contact. I don't think he's attracted to you, but maybe he'd want to be around you more without you trying to force your way into his life like that.
And, any explanation is going to seem like an excuse if you don't trust, right? So to save the headache, he deleted it, but then he ended up explaining and showing her that proof that was needed once everyone calmed down and they were not as angry anymore. So that's the update on that. Things are okay with them now, and they don't want me to talk about it anymore online because they're worried about being doxxed, even if nobody knows their names.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. They're worried about being doxxed, even though nobody knows their names. No first name, no last name is being given, no address. So how could they be doxxed? Tell the truth, Chantal. This is you. This is your story. You're talking about yourself, and you got it all out of your system for the moment. So now you're like, now I'm going to shut up about it. This is the last of my anger. I have vented it all out, and we're not going to go any further.
Who knows? People find things out very easily online. People with a lot of time and nothing better to do, and a lot.
Chantal, the only way that people find things out when it comes to you is when you open your big mouth and you say too many things and you give too many details. That's the only time. When you are not careful, when you are not discreet, that's when people go digging and they find things.
A lot of hate in their hearts. So, um, that's the story on that. Believe it or not, that's what happened. And so they're giving it. They've made up. It's fine. Um, but she wants to thank everyone for listening. It means a lot to her, and she said her boyfriend, assured her he would never hurt her. Um, Other than the one incident, he's never cheated in person. It's just
Can I just say something about the cheating and making up things you've made up? Once cheating happens, can you really move on from that? I mean, even if you kiss and made up, are things ever the same after that? No. The trust is broken. And there's always that thought in mind, are they going to do it again? And if so, when is it going to happen? If you're with somebody that's cheated, you're always waiting for the other shoe to drop. That's why it's a good idea that the person's cheated on you to just let them go. They do it once and they get away with it, they'll do it again. And even if they don't, there's always going to be that fear in your heart, in your mind, of it might happen again. And you got to live with that fear day in, day out. It's a wound that never, ever heals. It's a wound that never completely closes up. It's always open, ready to bleed.
so, like I said, it's a quick like online thing. Wasn't emotional, but um, yeah, it still was an infidelity. Like I'm not excusing it. It's still.
Oh, that was a slip. I'm not excusing it. So why would you have to excuse it? It's not your story, remember? It's somebody else's story. So you went from talking in the third person to the first person. It happened to you. That's why you said I, not her, I. That was a slip, Chantal. See, this is why it's bad for you to lie. You're a bad liar.
Was hurtful, and
You know desperately that she wants to say it's her. She wants so much to say, this happened to me, to get maximum sympathy and money and views. She wants to say it, but she doesn't dare say it because if she does say it, it's about her. Things between her and Salah might break completely apart. And then she's going to be in a world of hurt because she doesn't have the money to go back to Canada right now. So she's buttoning her lip to a degree. To a degree.
yeah, it was somebody she knew too.
And she's saying, we bonded over this actually. That is the wrong way to bond with people. The trauma bonding thing, it's a bad way to bond with people.
And you just be careful, like ladies. You never know, like who who you can trust in life. I'm telling you.
Words of wisdom coming from a serial cheater who cheated on 2 men in her life and did them dirty.
Some people are snakes. So
You mean like you?
but that's okay. You can always take out the trash. I have like so much lint all over me. I hate
We don't care.
wearing this kind of black.
We don't care.
This is the Canada shirt.
Oh God.
It's like actually kind of cold in here right now. So anyway, that's the story with that. There's nothing really more left to say. Letting her work that out. It's with with her boyfriend or whatever. And I guess it makes sense, that there would be a variety of people messaging on a business number. But I think maybe, he should have been forthcoming with her that he has female clients, customers, and
Well, hello. Isn't he in the perfume business? Dummy. Who do you think he's selling this perfume to? Men? Is he not selling perfume? Who buys the perfume? Women. Right. So who do you think his clients are going to be? Women. Oh my God, put 1 and 1 together makes 2. Move to the front of the class and figure that out. Jeez. Besides, it makes no sense anyway. It's not like he's out there being a perfume mogul. So why does he need clients?
he withheld that from her because he knew it was nothing. But at this,
Well, if it was nothing, why not tell the wife? I mean, listen, if you are in a relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, 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 boyfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, husband, husband, whatever the relationship is, whoever your partner is, you want to tell them everything. You want to be completely honest. You don't have secrets. You just don't. Your partner, whoever they are, should be your best friend. And you should feel comfortable to tell them everything. And if you're with somebody that they're not telling you everything and they're hiding stuff from you, you got to ask yourself why. And then you have to ask yourself the question, is this person really my partner? Are they really as close to me as I am to them? And is it worth it to be with somebody where there is an abyss between us? There is a gap that can't be closed. Is this the relationship I want? Is it making me happy? And if you ask those questions and you get answers that are hurtful to hear, but they're honest, you got to make a choice whether to stay or to go.
at the same time, for her, it would be everything. So he didn't want to tell her about something so innocent. He says not because it's something bad, but it's because she's going to blow it out of proportion and think it's bad. So,
you know what, Chantal, as long as you continue to be the way that you are and not take care of yourself, you're going to continue to be insecure and jealous and rude and crass and possessive and controlling and clingy and all the things that make you awful. And all of those things push people away. They repel people. They don't attract people to you. They repel people. You say you want love, but are you a loving person? Do you have a loving heart? No, you don't. You're far too selfish and self-centered and self-absorbed and narcissistic and, dare I say, maybe somewhat sociopathic. You might be a sociopath who feels nothing for anyone. And it's just all about who you own and what you can do to make them obey you. But you don't have a moral compass and you have no sense of sympathy or empathy or remorse or regret or true kindness or generosity or feeling. You attract that which is most like you. So if you keep attracting people like Nader and Salah, ask yourself why. Why am I attracting these people? Why is it that only those kinds of people want to be around me? Maybe the answer is me. If I'm a bottom feeder at the bottom of the fish tank, sucking up all the slime, maybe I should take a look at that. Maybe I should think about that. That I'm way down and I'm low because I want to be low. I am not willing to do the work to lift myself up. And as long as I'm down at the bottom of the fish tank, I just got to deal with what's here and feed on it because I'm not willing to change and evolve into something better. So it's like embrace the misery or reject it. But if you reject it, that means you got to change into something more. And that's going to take a lot of work because you truly are awful and evil.
So, whatever. So, I guess that's it. Yeah, that's the update. And I thank you guys for listening. And again, that's the end of the chapter for that. Unless I have another friend who wants to, I don't have.
Oh my God. If I have another friend that has another sad story, I can monetize that for content. You're awful. This is another reason why you don't have friends, because you would turn them into content.
I have a lot of friends like that. I especially not that I hang out with. I have some good friends that I talk to.
Nobody talk to Chantal and nobody hang out with her, because if you do, this is what she'll do to you. Whatever you tell her, she's going to make into content. She'll air out your dirty laundry.
And I guess I could hang out with them at some point if I wanted to. But I mean, I find like a lot of people just really like to just talk online with each other, like
I mean, like you
over WhatsApp or whatever. So, yeah, I guess that's it. So,
yep, that's it. That's all. It's all she wrote, folks. All right. So that was the update about the friend. Essentially, Chantal's like, she got all the anger out of her system at Salah, and now she's going to move on. Allegedly. We'll see what happens. She got a visa run due in what, December? We'll see what happens there. So hope you guys enjoyed this react. If you have, please like and subscribe and leave a comment. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye.